What's up, boss fam? It's your boy, Dun Beezy, and today's gonna be the first installment of rhythm skating history. Today we're gonna be talking about the Atlanta, Cleveland, and Detroit styles of skating. Let's get into it. Before we talk about the different styles, we have to understand what rhythm skating is, what are some things that affect the styles, and a couple of things about the way that history has developed. Bill Butler heads down the Empire in Brooklyn in the 1950s. He goes down and he advocates for different types of skate nights. And by advocating for a different type of skate night, he gives an opportunity for us to start skating in a different way. Because before, there were some established ways to skate, and a lot of people were skating to organ music and stuff, but skating to organ music is skating to organ music. So what he does is he develops his jamming technique, and as he describes it,
I know, I got everybody trying to do this stuff. You know?
And it starts to spread across the nation. The jamming technique becomes New York freestyling, New Jersey freestyling, and a lot of the up top techniques. As skating starts to spread and it goes around the nation, people in different places take the jamming technique, they take pieces of it, but the technique begins to change and it starts to form different regional identities. Well, the thing that really affects the regional identities is the music. That's why it was so important that he came through and he advocated for different nights to change the music. And the different regions that I'm going to talk about today, they have all been shaped and moved by the music of the region. In the late 1990s and 2000s, as more people started traveling for skate jams and different rhythm skaters started talking to each other and looking at different styles, different moves start to leak into different places. All the styles that I'm talking about, you can see these styles all over the world. But I'm going to be speaking from this in the perspective of this is where the styles were started, this is where the styles were popularized, and these are the techniques that come out of this region. Anyway, let's get into it. For the Atlanta style portion of the video, I spoke to Tony Saylor, the leader of the Sick on Skates crew, and he's also the leader of the Kids Sick on Skates. In addition to their community outreach, the Sick on Skates crew does performances, and it has been the home of some of the best skaters in the world, including I Dance Solo, aka Solomon Snowden, as well as DC Young Fly. Yes, that DC Young Fly. The reason why I spoke to Tony, even though he's a California transplant, he eats, sleeps, and lives the Atlanta skate style. In addition to practicing the moves and performing the techniques, he takes the time to learn the history. Like many other rhythm skating styles, pieces of the technique have been lost, they have changed. So in order to really understand the style and really learn it, you have to go back and talk to some of the originators. And Tony put in the work. To understand the Atlanta style, we first got to talk about the yeeking dance movement. The yeeking dance movement flows through the Atlanta style. And if you really go back and you take a look at it, you're gonna be like, wow, I can see a lot of those movements in the style. And there's still yeek nights to this day. You can check out the Yeekology Instagram page and really start to understand how deep this really goes. The roots of yeeking go back to the 70s and 80s during the Jelly Bean era and the Sharon Showcase era. Sharon Showcase is a place that dancers would go. Well, the fathers of yeeking are the FDC, the Fresh Dance Crew. This is a group of skaters and dancers who created yeeking, and they also helped come up with different moves that we practice in the Atlanta style today, like the stab. The thing that makes the Atlanta style special is the crew style battle skating that Atlantans do. The thing is, if you've ever seen the movie ATL, the portion of the movie about the Atlanta skate culture actually happened. There was a real crew known as the Ones, and they're still skating today. There was a real crew known as the Preps. The Preps are still rolling to this day as well. In fact, one of the major techniques in the Atlanta style prepping, or the prep, gets its name from this group. Fun fact, in the movie ATL, Tony Saylor, Deshaun Ingram, who is also a part of the Sick on Skates crew, Antonio Barfield, and Kyle Dutcher, aka Push, played the preps. So if you know Push, make sure you screenshot this, circle his face, send him a picture from the movie, and ask who this. Couple of super important skaters in the Atlanta style are Vaughn and Anthony. They are scholars of the oldest style, and they taught key individuals. Kelvin Rowe and his skate partner Jamar were two more extremely important skaters to the Atlanta style. They both learned the stab from the ones, but they took it to the next level. They added more speed and they got more creative with the routine. They even took the riding routine and added additional moves to that, which was pretty cool. I also like to give a huge shout out to Levi. Levi is a master welder and he is also a master skater. He's one of the skaters that worked with me when I was younger, and I would go on to find out all the things that he's done for the community, such as creating the Tony Crazy Legs and working on techniques like the jump 360 spin and the jump 540 spin. Levi also encouraged co-ed skating, and he would teach anybody that was willing to learn. The reason why I exalt the teachers of the Atlanta style so much is because everybody did not get a chance to learn the moves. They didn't teach this to everybody, and everybody actually didn't have the skills to learn the moves. So you gotta give them that shout out. One of the most iconic moves in the Atlanta style is the stab. The stab was originally known as the alto after its creator Al. The reason why they changed the name to the stab is because of the move. In order to perform the stab, you pick your knee up to 90 degrees and you step it in front of your other foot, slicing or stabbing it onto the ground. This is followed by a clap. Well, there are other moves needed to make this distinctive, however, that's the basic idea. Prep comes from the group The Preps, and they were called Preps because they were preppy. I used to think it was preparation, but it's like preppery. They had like a sartorial style, and they also had a very, very precise move around the ring. It takes a lot of focus and it takes some patience to really come back in like that. So you can really see how their name is reflected in their moves. One really big part about the Atlanta style that gets looked over is how difficult it really is to hold the formations at a high speed, because the Atlanta style is meant to be done at high speeds. And sometimes people skate in a straight line, or sometimes people skate in doubles. And especially when you're hitting the corner, especially when you're doing all types of spin and turn moves, that gets a little dicey. Other routines in the Atlanta style include the crisscross, as well as Atlanta wall riding. In Atlanta, we wall ride a little bit different. In Memphis, wall riding describes skating on the outside of the ring. I'm gonna talk about Memphis wall riding in another video. But in Atlanta, we actually make contact with the wall. Sometimes you kick off the wall, sometimes you push off the wall, sometimes you sit on the side. It all depends on the routine. Riding is a stride-like move. I say striding because striding describes a lunge motion that people do on skates. Striding is really, really big in the up top New York style. It's really, really big in Ohio, which is known for the way that people stride, and it's also really, really big in California. However, in Atlanta, we hit it different. The way that we skate and the way that we ride reflects the music, because in Atlanta, the music hits hard. And fun fact, parts of the riding technique have been lost. What we're practicing today is only one piece of the technique. There are about 5 to 6 versions of the ride. It's changed over time. You could tell which era a person came from by looking at the skates that they used to ride. In the original version of the ride, people would use Carreras. This was back before the routine really had a name. And the reason why people would be riding is because they didn't have any other routines. This is actually how I learned to ride, and that's how I came up, because I didn't have any other routines. These days, the ride has a more stylistic, swaggish, improvisational element. And if you look at a lot of different people riding, there are parts where they connect, there is footwork where they connect, but it's mostly about looking as cool as you possibly can. I know you might be asking about the new school Atlanta skaters, but I ain't gonna lie. You're gonna have to wait for my bingo book on the rhythm skate map to see that. The next style that I'm gonna be talking about is the Cleveland style. Admittedly, I didn't know that Cleveland had its own distinctive style until like May of 2020. So I started following Tempest Nicole about a year and a half ago, and I really like her style. I know a lot of people jumping on her page right now because she's like blowing up and whoopty whoopty whoop. Bruh, I follow her because she rolls.
Period.
She also posts about other skaters and other events in Cleveland. And she posted some events and she posted some skaters from Playmore. Playmore is a rink in Cleveland. And I was watching them like, yo, they are turning up right now. So when I made my first rhythm skating map, she also told me that there was a distinctive style in Cleveland, the Cleveland Shuffle, as well as the Cleveland Freestyle. So I put them on the map and I asked her about them. She told me she wasn't a straight up historian and she directed me to some other historians I could talk to. She sent me over to my homie, Daryl Barksdale. Daryl runs the Cleveland Skate Page. The Cleveland Skate Page is dedicated to showcasing the rinks, events, and skaters in Cleveland. So I'm like, awesome, perfect. He broke down the definitions of Cleveland shuffling as well as Cleveland freestyling to me. The Cleveland Shuffle is a solo and group skate maneuver. What you do is you skate around the outside and then you step and it's a drag. That sounds simple, but it's super duper smooth. I'm gonna come back to that drag and why that drag is special a little bit later. Cleveland freestyling is an outside footwork technique that can be done by yourself or in a group. Cleveland freestyling combines the footwork of styles such as JB and snapping and accentuates them with jumps inspired by artistic skaters. And I know you might be saying, bro, we all jump. I ain't gonna lie, dog. The Cleveland jumps are built different. I believe that Cleveland skaters have the strongest jumps in the rhythm skating community. And I'm gonna tell you why. In the artistic skating camp, the way that they jump, then they jump off of their legs. Specific techniques of the way that they're lifting off of their legs. They support themselves through their bodies. And with their hands come in and into the body. They come in and into the body. And all of this is used to create lift. Actually, I would jump this way. Off the feet, boom. A lot of people though, and a lot of people in videos, a lot of people in the park, they're just, it works to an extent, but what they really don't understand and what a lot of people really don't understand is the connection between footwork, the body, and the arms to create lift. But I haven't seen other people in other places take off the way that I see people in Cleveland take off. And everybody does it. The group will take off, everybody takes off the same way. And this is special. One of the biggest things that separates artistic skating from rhythm skating is the rigid technique standards. And the reason why they do this is because changing the technique even by a little will be the reason why you cannot complete a maneuver. And that's why you have to have a coach with you saying, hey, yo, bro, you need to wiggle your eyebrows 2 times, not 3 times before you land. Because if you wiggle them 2 times, it's not gonna give you enough proportion on your upper body. And that's why you're not coming out your quadruple double 11 billion South Cal right. I'm sorry, artistic. I'm sorry, artistic skaters. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, but for real, I got a lot of respect for the artistic style, and you have to just admit, you know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why they can do a lot of the things that they can do. And Cleveland, they're breaking that down as well. So I spoke to my homie Daryl for a little bit, And then he sent me over to T at the Skate Life Crew page in order to get some deeper information on the style. So the purpose of the Skate Life Crew page is to support each other by supporting the culture. And I want to quote him specifically. According to T, Cleveland skate music is heavily influenced by hip hop and funk. We prefer moderately paced music with heavy bass and a pronounced kick snare patterns to accentuate the crispness of our moves. Our shuffle is different than other regions because of the drag we do on our right foot on the snare. Exactly when and how it started is very debatable, but it became our signature style in the early 90s. You remember earlier when I was talking about the drag? It's the drag on the snare. And also remember earlier when I was talking about the influence of music. This is coming back again. The way that they're even dragging their feet is affected by the music that they listen to. And this is something that's gonna come up again and again in our rhythm skating history. I want you to stay to the end of the video because I want to talk about the connection between different rhythm styles and artistic styles again, but I have one more style to introduce before I get there. Anyway, he also had this to say about the Cleveland style. Everything that you see in our rinks today is heavily influenced by Joe Smith, Tyrone McClemore, and a now retired OG named Vance. There are a few more, but these guys are the Mount Rushmore of Cleveland skating. So just like with the Atlanta style, there are older gentlemen who came through. They pioneered different moves and then they taught the younger generations. And that's gonna be a huge theme in rhythm skating. Rhythm skating is alive. The techniques are alive. I know you want me to talk about the new school of Cleveland skaters, but you're gonna have to wait for my bingo book for that. I ain't gonna talk about them yet. The next style that I'm gonna talk about is the Detroit style. The Detroit style is one of the deepest, most varied styles in the rhythm skating community. The reason why it's so deep is because it combines so many different elements into something that it kind of doesn't make sense, but they really make it work. The reason why I say it doesn't make sense is because one big part about the Detroit style is something called open house, where people, they skate from the middle of the floor and then they slide to the edges of the floor. Boom. In order to slide, you have to have pretty hard wheels like the Fomax, or some people use glass or wooden wheels. But the Detroit style also has a lot of intricate footwork, sequences, and turns. These are all very difficult to do if you're also set up to slide, because if you're sliding, your skates are slipperier. But if you're doing a lot of footwork and turns, you need a lot of control on your skates. So that's the first thing. And something else that Detroit skaters do that almost no other skaters in the rhythm community do is a lot of the Detroit style is based off of and uses toe stops. Yes, most of the other styles in the rhythm community do not use toe stops, but a large portion of Detroit skaters skating this style use toe stops. So we got people using toe stops, slide wheels with intricate turns, just like boom. That's a lot. And the thing is, these moves aren't sloppy. If you go up to Detroit and if you really talking to somebody from Detroit, they can roll. And that's why I say it's such a deep style. One of the things that I think really helps aid Detroit skaters is they use classic rhythm skating and artistic boots that come up to the ankle and they give them that support. Detroit is another one of those styles where you can look at it and definitely see the artistic influence, because in the artistic camp, there's a lot of very specific turns. There's a lot of very specific sequences that people practice. If you go up to Detroit, then people will do entire sequences of moves with intricate turns and specific moves in the middle. And that's just something that you have to know. The way that the style is documented and the way that the style is passed down. For my deeper knowledge of Detroit, I took some time and I spoke to Nolan Edwards. He runs the Motown Roller Club page on Instagram. The reason why I spoke to him is because of his strong social media presence and his connection to the history and the culture. I know he used to jam skate back in the day, but he really doubled down on Detroit style. In addition to running the Motown Roller Club page, he also assists in the production and the promotion of the different skate lessons that Ed Reese, a Detroit style legend, puts on. And for these things and for these promotions, he's talking about the style. He says this is the move that he's teaching. This is something that we're doing. This is a piece of the style. And in order to be able to do that, you have to study the style. Something else that he does is he's working on a podcast and videos to showcase the Detroit style. And he's calling people in. He's getting on the phone. He's talking to the people who did it. And when somebody talks to the people who did it, and when somebody puts in the work like that, you gotta keep it real. Oh, I almost forgot, he actually rolled. The major moves in the Detroit style include the half turn, Kenny Mike, the Pontiac, which can pretty much go into any combo, in the Pepsi. The Pepsi has mixed reviews. Just like with the Atlanta style, there's different variations of these moves and there's different takes on the moves as well. You can also see these moves on Ed Reese's page because he teaches the Detroit style. I know you're probably saying to yourself, hey yo bro, what about the new Detroit skaters? Honestly bro, I'm gonna save that for the bingo book. Now I want to do a small extension. If you think about it and if you watch and if you study and you look at the moves and compare it to the moves that artistic skaters do, different places on the map and different locations in the United States, they have a different connection to artistic skating. For example, if you go to Detroit and you see the way that they're jumping, if somebody can do a 900 on their skates, it's deeper than jumping and throwing your arms. You have to understand the technique. That technique has to be taught, passed down, and it's very, very specific. If you look at a lot of the turns in Detroit, a lot of those turns are extremely specific. They require a very specific transfer of weight, and the way that people do them and the way that people are teaching them, you have to see the similarities between that and the way that people teach footwork and different edge work in the artistic skating community. But if you go to Atlanta, who you with? Who you with? Who you with, big bro? Who you with? It's different. It's different. And you're also gonna notice that other styles on the map, they have a different connection to artistic skating as well. For example, if you head up top, the New York, New Jersey style, they have a deeper connection to artistic skating as well, because a lot of the turns that you see them doing, they're also the artistic skating turns. I'm not saying anything definitive about it. I just want to give you an opportunity to see it, to see the difference, see the different ways that rhythm skating has progressed. Anyway, that's the end of my video. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that helped me with the research on this one. I've been calling people, I've been messaging them on Instagram, I've been sending a lot of comments, I've been that weird dude in the comments.
Hey man, hey bro, what's up, dog,
I done dropped a couple messages, I done messed around, because you know, I struggle with communication sometimes. I'm getting better as I grow as a man, as I grow into my purpose, into where I really want to go. Improving my communication is a big part of it. So sometimes I trip, but I'm really, really working on it. Anyway, if you like the video, make sure you like. If you love the video, make sure you subscribe. If you feel so led, you can donate to me on PayPal, or you can join my Patreon. I'm gonna be opening up some classes on my Patreon really, really, really soon. I'm about to do my first Drills for Skills classes, demo classes, and those are all gonna be going up on Patreon afterwards for everybody's viewing pleasure. This is only 3 styles. This is 3 styles in the rhythm skating community. I haven't talked about up top, that's New York and New Jersey. I haven't talked about St. Louis. I haven't talked about Memphis. I haven't talked about California. I haven't talked about a lot of other moves. I haven't talked about the history of the slow walk. I haven't talked about the history of dipping. There is a lot more to come.